What's up, fight fans? It's your boy Tijon, and you know what time it is. It's time to get in the mix. All right, man, so let's get right into it. We only are going to cover one event today, and that is the highly anticipated UFC 272 against friends, teammates turned rivals, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. Now, this was a really good event. Honestly, I have no real complaints about it. There was a lot of it was a lot longer. The matches themselves were a lot longer, I'll say, than I anticipated, including this one. I expected it to be quick, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself, man. It was a large card, and it was filled with some great matches for sure. So the first one I want to cover is Brian Keller versus Umar Nurmagomedov. This one was actually a quick one for sure. In typical Nurmagomedov fashion, it was just a stuffing performance right on the cage, that Dagestani style that we're just getting so used to seeing. Ended up pretty quickly in the first round, rear naked choke right on the cage, like I said, man. So, more of the same, but another dominant win for him. He continues his win streak. Next one we had is Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Now, this one actually went the whole way, and it was a little controversial. It was a pretty close match, I'd say. I didn't have either one dominating the other, but Tim Elliott did get the win. But like I said, it was a bit controversial, I have to say, just because there was some glove pulling by Tim Elliott at some crucial times. And you can see Habib is in the corner. He's one of the coaches, and he was furious about it. So yeah, that leaves a few questions, we'll see what happens now. Like, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of comments and things, because I know he doesn't like when things like that happen, especially to his fighters. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like how that story plays out, I guess. But next up, there was Devontae Smith versus Ludovic Klein. Now, this fight also went the distance, and we got to see Ludovic Klein do just enough to get the win. It was impressive, though. It was a very impressive decision. I think that it could have gone either way as well. But I did think that Ludovic Klein did just enough to eke it out. He had a whole lot more. Am I watching Revolution tonight? I thought about it, and I think I am. I might just even join Billy in doing the review for it. So stay tuned for that. I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. I will watch it though, because I'm super excited for it. But moving on to this one. Next one, we had Dustin Jacoby versus Michael. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this. Michael Oleksichuk. There we go. Nope, I got it. Michael Oleksichuk. So, with that being said, this was another fight that went fully the distance. It went all the way to the judges, and Dustin Jacoby actually got the decision for this fight as well. So, like I said, these were actually longer fights than I was expecting. But at the same time, I think that that's also a good thing, because these were really evenly matched people throughout the night. So I really have no complaints even seeing them all go the distance. And it wasn't really boring. There was never a lack of action. So, I props to the UFC for giving us some really evenly matched competitors. That's always really nice to see. Other than, of course, we do love the knockouts and the quick finishes, but it's also really nice to see guys actually go head to head and really have to fight each other. There's no real solution. Everybody wants to get in and get out, but when you can't, it shows how good of a fighter you are. So, I do enjoy that as well. But next we had Jamie Malarkey versus Jalen Turner. Now, this one was a quick one. Jalen Turner got the quick TKO victory in the second round, but this was a dominant performance from Jalen Turner from the jump. All hands. If we're being honest, this was straight hands the whole way, and Malarkey had no answer for him. So he got the dub, pretty decisive, like I said. Next, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Chao Nanyan, and this one was another great even fight. Went all the way the distance, and Marina Rodriguez ended up getting the decision. But again, this was a really good fight, another great even fight that could have went either way. So I'm not angry with a lot of these ref decisions. I do have one, but you know, I'm gonna get to that one. But next up was oh, sorry, let me move on. Nikolai Negomarino versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. There we go. Kennedy Nzechukwu. I thought honestly that this match was Kennedy's to lose. I thought Kennedy was beating him in all honesty. But there was some more shenanigans in this fight as well, where Kennedy actually poked Jesus, what is his name? I keep forgetting it. Nikolai. Sorry, he poked Nikolai in the eye pretty rough at the end, like in the third round. And because of that, that kind of made the judges, I feel like, score it differently, because there was a point deduction. And a point deduction is a huge, huge game changer when it comes to close fights. And once that happened, I feel like that costed him the win. And the judges scored it when it went the distance. They scored it in Nikolai's favor. So, congrats to Nikolai. Kennedy, you got to watch out for them eye pokes, man. I don't think that it was intentional, but, it definitely costed him. So it's unfortunate, but that's the game. That's the game. Got to be safe. Next is Marina Moroz versus Mariah Agupova. Now, this one I was interested to see because it kind of has the same storyline as Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. So these two were actually friends before, were training partners, and now, they went their separate ways and are also now rivals, just like our main event that last night. So, this was a really anticipated one for me. I was really looking forward to this. And there was a lot of grappling. I wasn't expecting as much grappling as I saw, but it was still entertaining. There was a lot of just wrestling for position. They were really going at each other just on the ground. There was a lot of ground and pound too involved. It just was, it was mainly on the ground. And Marina Moroz dominated on that ground, man. Overall, she was the one that was controlling the tempo on the ground. Yes, Mariah had a great showing, but it was nothing compared to Moroz. And she ended up getting that submission after some vicious ground and pound, got a triangle submission, and then Mariah Agupova had no choice but to tap out. And what a great win also, because her story is fantastic, because she's Ukrainian. She comes out with the Ukrainian flag. She also has the mouthpiece you can kind of see. So this was a really good win. It's great for the story. I'm sure Dana White loves it. So, congrats to her. This was awesome. I have no complaints for that one either. Now for this one. Now we're going into the main card. Greg Hardy versus Sergey Spivak, and it went exactly as everybody wanted it to. Greg Hardy doesn't have that many fans just because of his controversial past and everything that's been going on in his life. And with that being said, he's never really the guy people root for. And that being said, Sergey put that man down pretty easily and pretty quickly with some nice beat down, ground and pound, just outlasting Greg Hardy. That's always been the kryptonite to beating Greg Hardy, is just weathering a storm early and then coming back and beating him down. And that's literally, Greg Hardy has never had a real answer for that. So Sergey gets the win by TKO. This is also the last fight on Greg Hardy's contract. So I think this is the last time that we're going to see Greg Hardy in the UFC. So fans rejoice, because I know that there's been so many fans and so many, people that watch the UFC that have been tired of seeing Greg Hardy, in such a illustrious sport. So he's gone. I'm pretty sure he's not coming back. I don't think that the UFC wants any more controversy, and they're probably going to start clearing house. Now, another fantastic fight was Kevin Holland versus Alex Olivieri. I was really expecting this fight to go the distance, if I'm being completely honest. These two are well equipped in their skill sets, and they're not really how do I say this? Their skill sets are a bit different, in terms of Alex being more of the jiu-jitsu guy and Kevin Holland being known for his stand-up. And so I was really thinking that if the fight went to the ground, Alex was going to be the guy to, put Kevin Holland down once again, because he's been on a bit of a slide. But Kevin Holland has clearly been working on his ground game, and Alex Olivieri had nothing that he could do with Kevin Holland. Like, in my opinion, he was winning this fight from the jump. Alex Olivieri was doing pretty great in the first round, but Kevin Holland came out that second round swinging. He just immediately put Alex down and never gave Alex a chance to recover. So once that huge barrage, super impressive, just throwing one, like after a good 30 seconds to a minute of that, the ref had no choice but to step in and give Kevin Holland that dub. So congrats to Kevin Holland, back in the win column, man. Next, Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Now, this was a really interesting one as well, because you see the age difference, but we know that Edson Barboza is a very dangerous man when it comes to that octagon. He's a vet, but he's easily knocking people out. And Bryce Mitchell has also gained a following for his power, and he's super underestimated still. But in all honesty, I had Edson winning, and boy was I wrong, because Bryce put this man through the ringer. I think he won every round. It was super dominant, his performance. I'm impressed, and I'm a huge fan now of Bryce Mitchell after what I saw. Very great, very awesome, well-earned decision win by Bryce Mitchell. I have no complaints about this fight. It was well-earned. And Keith, let me get to you, bro. Yeah, Kevin Holland really destroyed Alex in this fight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kevin Holland did his thing, bro. I was very impressed with Kevin Holland's performance. 100%. He did a great job in his match. So, props to him. I think he's a great addition to the UFC, and they're using him really well. I'm very, very happy with how he is in the UFC. And I think that he does have a chance, to get to the title contentions. He just has a lot of learning and a lot of growth, but he's embracing it. I love the talking that he does. He didn't really do that much this time, which I was surprised about. But, I think that he's really learning and really growing into who he can be. So I'm super excited to see where he goes in the UFC, because he's a sleeper, I think, in my opinion. He's definitely going to have a lot of good qualities to make him pretty tough in the UFC. But yeah, like Joseph said, yeah, what's going on, Joseph? Yeah, the card had some shockers. Like I said, there was a lot of things that I expected. None of them really happened. And that's fine, because it was still fun. I had a great time. I had a great time with this. And yeah, it was definitely a tough night for Barboza. But that's not a problem, man. Bryce Mitchell is a dog. I know, like I said, I was sleeping on Bryce Mitchell for real. I didn't think that Bryce Mitchell was that good. I mean, I knew he was good. Please don't, kill me in the comments or nothing. But Edson Barboza's been a monster. And so for Bryce Mitchell to come out the way that he has, and especially taking the time out that he has, like, I don't think he fought last year. So, I just didn't expect him to come out the way that he did. But man, it was an excellent showing. So yeah, very, very awesome. But getting into this one, now this one, I kind of knew what was going to happen. Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moccano. Now, I'm not surprised that Rafael dos Anjos won, but it's the way that he won that I'm surprised. This fight actually went the distance, and the toughness of Renato Moccano to fight as valiantly as he did with such little time as he had. I was expecting it to be just as quick as the Bobby Green and Islam Makhachev fight. And, I have nothing but respect for somebody like Renato Moccano, who can continue to fight knowing that the odds are against him, and he knows he's losing on the cards, and he knows it's probably not going to go his way, just because, he hasn't had the time to prepare. He just had, the odds are literally against him. And for him to literally stand in that ring, take the beating that he did, literally blood was spewing from his face, from his eye. The ref wanted to call it, I think, 3 times, having the in-ring physician come over to his corner, make sure that he passed his eye test, made sure that he can still fight. And he did not want to fight, So I'm really, really a huge fan of Renato Moccano after this. And, this is a bad look for Islam, if I'm being completely honest, because you had somebody, like, even if you lose this fight, dog, he took this fight in like a week's notice. So, I don't think that this was any diss on RDA for sure. And yeah, I'm a big RDA fan as well, and he needed this win for sure. But I think once Dariush pulled out. It was like, this is a throwaway fight. So I'm very, yeah, man, Keith has it. That's exact. Yeah, it was like the Rocky and Apollo for sure. It was an ass whooping, bro. It was a complete ass whooping, but you can't question heart, man. Heart is what gets you fans. And I'm a huge, huge fan of Renato Moccano now. That was a fantastic fight for him, even though it was definitely not going his way. Just for him to continue to stand there and take that punishment, that's heart and that's toughness. So, yeah, and he did, don't get me wrong, he did do great. He definitely did great, but, RDA had that for sure. So, props to Moccano for stepping up. Yeah, you made a fan of me for sure, an even bigger fan in me, because you went in there no matter what and you fought, and that's commendable no matter what. So good on you, and this was a really great performance. Next up, Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. Let's get into it, bro. Now, honestly, man, who would have thought that this fight would go as it did? I don't think anybody did. Honestly, this fight was so different than anybody thought it was going to go. Now, before we get really into it, I wanted Jorge to win, but I had Colby winning. So I was right in that regard. But I didn't think that it would go past the second round. Honestly, I thought that at most it would go 3 rounds. Somebody was going to quit. Somebody was going to get knocked out or just stop fighting. And if I'm being honest, it looked like Jorge was too gassed. And I think that's the tail of the tape here. Really, I mean, Colby's gas tank is just so much bigger than Jorge's. And it was on display that entire fight, man. Jorge's diet regimen is weird. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. What's he like, pizza and nuggets and crap? Like, I don't know what he's been doing. And yeah, honestly, I think that it is a mental thing. Masvidal, but we haven't really seen him really fight since the Usman thing. I think that humbled him, but that's a good thing. Colby, though, Colby's thing is an act, and it's been known that it's an act. So for him, this is still business. He's able to learn and keep going. His talking trash and all that doesn't affect his performance the same way I think Jorge's is, because Jorge is real. Colby's character is literally a character. But, the technical side of this, Colby is a wrestler. Jorge is a brawler. That's a difference. Wrestlers have a higher gas tank. They have cardio that Jorge just doesn't have. And I don't see Jorge gaining that. I mean, he does have great cardio, but against somebody like Colby Covington, it just was not working, bro. He was getting dominated. He was getting dominated the entire fight. And I do like the fact that, like, even though I'm pretty sure Jorge knew he was losing this fight. And I like the fact that even though, he lost, that they're still jawing off at each other. They still don't like each other. Like, that's a big thing. So maybe we'll see this fight again. Colby Covington did win this fight, but they still don't like each other. There's nothing that I don't think will happen that will make them not like each other. But, I also don't know if I want to see this fight happen again. If I'm being completely honest, I don't see this fight being entertaining. The entertaining factor was this is the first time that they've gone against each other. The first time that I heard that they didn't like each other. I didn't keep up with their rivalry until, this came out as a card. And like Joseph said, man, yeah, Covington is a dog in this sport. He's earned every time that he's gotten a title shot. He's a very, very good fighter. The only thing that ever didn't work in his favor was his character. And once he got that in check, bro, he's been on a tear. And Jorge, he's like the Nate Diaz in his class. It's just, he's a brawler. He will fight anybody. He doesn't care. And he's going to try to baptize you. That's always been his thing. So I think that they're just on 2 different levels. And yes, the storyline is great, but I just don't think that Jorge's on that level. And we've seen it when it comes to Kamaru, and now we've seen it when it comes to Colby. So, it's a great storyline. Of course, I'm a fan of Jorge. Yeah, next time stay off them pizzas, bro. It's not helping. But, I think I think that he's in the same, like, mentality and that same kind of character, that same swagger as the Diaz brothers. He literally reminds me of that. That's why that BMF title was so huge, because they're the same person. So I think that's all it is. All I will say is Lambert wasn't happy with the result. Nah, man, I don't know. I think that everybody wanted it to be a quick one. Everybody was expecting some flying knees, some big punches. Somebody was going to get knocked out, and that didn't happen. But that's fine. It doesn't always have to be huge finishes for it to be entertaining. And I think that's what this night was really about. This is about entertaining fights that go the distance. Every time, or for most of the time, when it comes to MMA or even boxing, nobody wants to see a fight go all the way. At least the majority don't. You just want to see a good fight. And normally a good fight to people is just a knockout or a submission or something quick, a dominant performance from one person. But when two people can literally stand there and take beatings and continue to fight, that is a good fight too. As long as there's action and it's not boring, it's fine, and I don't like all the time when, cards end an hour into it airing. That sucks. Nobody wants that. I just paid $70 for an hour. That's terrible. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm happy with how this one went. I'm super excited for, what the UFC has in store, because they've been doing great with their fighters and, booking people. Next week is going to be great. I'm super excited. But also, I do want to say, because we all heard the news, Habib Nurmagomedov will be in the Hall of Fame. Definitely earned. Huge respect to him. He left a lot of question marks, for sure, granted, but he don't have nothing to prove. He has put in a new style in the UFC that is now taking over. If I'm being completely honest, bro, these Dagestanis are killing it. Like, there's been so many more Eastern Europeans / Russians that have now taken over this game with that Sambo style, that elite wrestling that is killing it, man. It is killing the game, and Habib brought that in. Like, you're not going to beat it. It's crazy, and all these guys that are coming in are basically undefeated. So there is a method to it, and Habib just brought in this new era. So yes, man, congrats to Habib. Definitely deserved. So yeah, and I do agree that Dana is more like Vince. I wouldn't say he's the Tony Khan of the UFC. He's definitely like Vince McMahon, and he's like Attitude Era Vince McMahon more than anything, because I love his realness. We love to hate him, but at the same time, right now, he does his thing. He does good. He does just good enough to where you don't want to call for his head. So, and without him, the UFC really wouldn't be where it's at. So, I mean, that is 100% true. Habib is like the Ken Shamrock of the modern UFC. I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand what you're saying. Because if you're saying like how Ken Shamrock was a staple, then yes, I do agree. If we're talking about style, I don't agree. Because, I mean, their styles are completely different. So I'm just going to assume that you mean that like as a staple and what he's brought in. Because like I said, Habib has brought in a new style that has been unquestionable and dominant in the UFC. You once they get somebody on the cage and they trap that hand, they just beat the shit out of you. That's literally the strategy. And then they submit you, they break you because you don't have an answer. You've never faced something like this. And that's always been the thing. So I truly think that Habib is one of the most deserving of the Hall of Fame, just because of this new era that we're now seeing come into the UFC, and it's really taking over. And honestly, people need to start taking notice, because we're about to see a lot of Dagestanis take these titles and just take over the UFC, and it may just get boring. So unless somebody get an answer very quickly, we're about to see a different era in the UFC and in MMA in general. But, that's all I got for you guys. I know this was kind of quick. It's about, 25 minutes? But, like I said, there wasn't really that much in MMA news this week. So that'll definitely be different next week. We got Bellator coming up. We have another UFC event, and two of my guys, the people that I've seen since I was a kid, Sadiq Yusuf and Tafan Nchukwi, of course. Like, man, I grew up watching them and, being around them just because of Team Lloyd Irvin. That's where, I trained and where I grew up, basically. They're like brothers to me. So I'm super excited to see them fight next week. They're great. They're dogs. They're gonna win. I'm putting my predictions in, and Noah and Jamila, the All Real crew, are also gonna have that same prediction because those are our guys, man. So definitely tune in next week, bro. It's gonna be great. But yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys. So tune in tonight for All Real Crew. Let me put up this banner real quick. The same thing that I always say. Follow those handles real quick. TTR Wrestling and the All Real Crew. We will give you guys all the news on Instagram, but of course, definitely on YouTube as well, and Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, everything. And yes, Revolution will rock. It's going to be great. I'm really excited for it. So best believe I'm tuning in for that. But yeah, man, until next time, this is T-John, and I will catch you guys on the flip. Keep it real.